So here we go with more Dust Chat while playing another game. This is Startrek DAC. Heard lots about this. I don't actually know if it's got anything to do with the film, but certainly when I played this, you'll see, it just didn't really strike me as anything to do with the film. But, you know, an interesting frivolity of a game nonetheless. So, Dust. Let's talk Dust. Been, again, having some amazing battles in the game. As you probably guessed, we're kind of skilling up and getting into the more kind of content now. Starting to get into the vehicles. Myself, I've really been pushing the dropships point. I'm sure they'll change quite a lot, but at the moment they're particularly brilliant. I really do like them. Slightly probably overpowered, but just amazing fun. We had a really good few games recently where we were able to, you know, basically deploy a dropship and just basically spin around gunning everything that moves. Now, the thing is, they're not completely impervious. You know, somebody, or a squad rather, with a particularly good skill in the swarm launcher will pretty much take you down. But I like it. I think it's really good. And again, you know, without breaking the NDA, I can't really say too much, but I think the way that they've done the vehicles in Dust really does lend exactly to what Eve works. So, you know, you have to fit them with modules and such. So it's really, really well done. Really quite impressed with that. Just, I guess, some breaking news. You've probably heard this, but if you haven't, obviously a little bit disappointed that basically they've announced to Eurogamer, CCP, that the Dust will remain a closed beta until the end of 2012, which is a shame, really. Obviously, I think anybody who's actually played the beta so far was probably laughing at the comment that it will be released at the end of November. But it's obviously good news. I think it's probably disappointed quite a few people, but you have to look at it from a kind of wider point of view. I think at the moment, if they're released obviously quickly, you'd get a particularly poor game. Not many people would play it. And unfortunately, in games like this, if people don't play it, then they won't provide the hosting and continue to work on it. So it's got to be a success if you want it to work. So unfortunately, we're all going to have to just sit back and wait. And again, I guess this is the way it works, but unfortunately they're now saying that the release of Dust proper will not probably happen now until Q2 2013. So that's probably, you know, Q2 is generally going to be April, May, June. So it could well be 6 months to 8 months away at least, which is a shame, but there we go. And hopefully it won't be a closed beta in 2013, because again, with, you know, I think there's so much good footage there that I think really does sell the game. So hopefully we'll be able to show that very soon. The term vaporware has been used quite a lot. Vaporware basically means, you know, selling something that's never really going to exist or never really going to provide the functionality that it's been sold to do. This, if you're familiar with the kind of wider gaming circles, this happened recently with a game called DayZ and WarZ. DayZ is obviously a massively successful zombie simulating mod for Arma 2. And on its back of its success, everyone claims that another game called WarZ, which is based upon War Inc., I believe, engine, somebody basically bandwagoned and started selling early beta access and all this good stuff. And you know, I think they are going to produce a game. I've seen some pretty decent footage and so on, but I think it was sold on the back of the hype of that. And you know, while it certainly wasn't vaporware, I think a lot of the DayZ community are trying to claim that it was. So, you know, I think Dust probably have the same challenge here, because I think now that they've had to push everything back, I think a lot of people are maybe just going to say, well, this is, you know, this is just a project by CCP, and there was never really much intention to make it a groundbreaking new way of shooting people in space. But we'll see. Also, just to let you know, we've got a new EVE Online Corporation. If you're interested, if you're a Dust player and you don't have an EVE Corp, or you know, if you are in EVE and you want to join a Corp, then you can certainly do that. Our squad name is Squad B, and we'll provide some details in the OP, and you can basically come join us. Currently, we're looking for an alliance, but there's a funny video coming to do with that, so hold your horses on that one. So another observation obviously made in Dust has been quite interesting, has been the use of Orium. For some reason I always thought that people would just not do this. They'd stick with the items that you didn't need to buy with real world cash. But from pretty much every match I've played probably this week, I would say probably 90% of all the players are using weaponry that you have to probably buy with the Orium. So that's quite a reassuring thing. Again, I'm quite interested in the whole commercial models of MMOs, and I think frankly, I'm curious to see how Dust is going to survive and alongside Eve, when one is a a microtransaction model and the other is obviously the subscription model. And I'm a big fan of the microtransaction role. I know some people hate it because you think you play to win and all that, and yes, you can, unfortunately, but there's no difference really in Eve right now, where basically you can just go and buy IS, you can buy game time cards, or unfortunately you can probably buy it maliciously off the black market, if you like, and go and buy a Titan and go and influence people. We saw this with that Russian aluminium tycoon, if you know who I'm talking about, who basically was funding an entire war for months, spending an ungodly amount of money on it. So I think it's a moot point, unfortunately, where if you think that the subscription model protects you from this pay to win, then you're just mistaken, because it doesn't. Microtransactions, I think, is a good way to get a player base built as well, because you're going to get a lot of people playing the game. So I do rate it. So there we go. That was Star Trek DAC, and join us next time for more Dust Chat.